Fellas, welcome back to another LEGO video here on Brickwave. Today I'm going to take a quick trip down good old memory lane and tell you guys about the 10 LEGO sets that I personally feel a lot of nostalgia for. This is probably the most subjective list I could make, but I hope that a lot of people my age will feel the same way. For reference, I just started my freshman year at college, so I'm excited to revisit my childhood as I fully enter the atmosphere of adulthood, so help me God. Most of these sets are going to be from just a couple themes, as I wasn't into most licensed themes when I was younger, but without further ado, let's get started with number 10. At numero 10, I'm putting set 71174, the LEGO Dimensions Starter Pack for the Wii U. This set is very nostalgic for me because it represents a lot of different things about my childhood. I was an avid Wii Sports kid, absolutely none of you could even hope to match me in swordplay by the way, and I spent a lot of my time on my Wii U once I upgraded. I played the aforementioned Wii Sports, Splatoon was a favorite of mine, Super Smash Bros. Was the obvious go-to for when I had friends over, and of course my favorite game, LEGO Dimensions. I logged so many hours into this game, and I, regretfully, spent most of my allowance and birthday money on Dimensions packs in 2016. In retrospect, I wish I'd spent those dollars on actual sets instead, but I was obsessed with Dimensions. I loved seeing my favorite lesser-known LEGO characters at the time on the same screen as legends like Batman. Dimensions also got me interested in older media like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters, and I probably wouldn't have gotten their respective Icons vehicles if it weren't for Dimensions. Like I said, I spent way too much on this game and didn't even come close to completing the character list, but I just have so many fond memories of playing the levels and exploring all the worlds in the game that I had to put some representation of the game here. Coming in at number 9 is 70736, Attack of the Moro Dragon from LEGO Ninjago. This set is at number 9 and not further because 2015 is kind of the last year I feel nostalgia for, but this set and Dimensions were meaningful enough to me to make the list still. Possession was my favorite season of Ninjago both in this season and in the sets for years, and I still feel mostly the same way. This set in particular is special because A, look at it, it's just plain awesome and probably the coolest set of the wave, but also B, I got it earlier than most of the other Possession sets. Possession was the first Ninjago wave that I completed besides the Temple of Air-Jitsu, and even though most of that came from my birthday and Christmas gifts, I still felt proud of my spoiled little self. To this day, it's still probably my most complete wave of Ninjago, except for one other who shall not be named, and I find that really special considering it's one of my favorites. It doesn't hurt that birthday Christmas 2015 happened when I was in 4th grade, which was my favorite year of elementary school, and I developed true friendships that year. So all of the context of my life at the time, plus that sick brick-built head, lands this set at number 9. Coming in at 8, sorry y'all, but it's another Ninjago set, this one being 70721 Kai Fighter. I remember opening this one up on Christmas morning of 2014, and even though it wasn't the biggest set I got that year, it easily was my favorite. Part of it was getting that Kai minifig with this hairpiece for the first time, but I was also just amazed at how awesome the shaping of this thing was. It was really the first set that completely blew my expectations, as it was way better in person than on the box. The transformation feature was absolutely sick, and way better than the Legacy one, because you don't have to give the thing scoliosis when transforming it, but it did get stuck at times, and that was the fun of it. I remember swooshing this thing around every day after school in 3rd grade, and this one was just so cool to me that I kept it built and on display during my LEGO Dark Ages that everyone has, when I broke down most of my other sets and put them in storage. I promise that I don't have a Ninjago set at number 7 because I have 70010, the Lion Chi Temple from LEGO Legends of Chima. If I remember correctly, this was the first set I got that was over 1,000 pieces, and this was back before 18 Plus made 5,000 piece sets a regular thing. So this was a big deal. I remember feeling so special when building this set because it felt like such a deluxe experience. Building the side builds first, which were pretty much the size of most actual sets I had at the time, created such anticipation for the main temple that I had never felt before, and I can't remember ever feeling prouder when completing a set. This was another one I played with a ton, whether it be just the set by itself or with my other Chima sets, so I have a ton of memories associated with this one. I remember a friend of mine was also really into Chima, and we both obviously could only get certain sets because we were, well, kids, so we would try to not overlap sets we owned so that we could have unique experiences when we visited each other's houses. I had the privilege of owning this beauty, so it also kind of represents a lot of my early friendships too. I got set number 6 in summer of 2016, which is the most recent set on this list, and that's 75093, LEGO Star Wars Death Star Final Duel. This is the only Star Wars set on the list, as besides currently I've normally not been into LEGO Star Wars. It's pretty much just been this year and the second half of 2016, weirdly enough. One of the reasons this set is so nostalgic for me is because I got it in the summer, which is very rare for my childhood, because there are no gifting holidays in that time. But the bigger reason is why I got this set. Less than 2 years before, our family got our first puppy, a Yorkshire Terrier named Georgie. He was the best, but unfortunately he passed away extremely prematurely due to something he ate outside. We haven't had a dog since, so my time with Georgie was super unique in my life. Me and my sister were really sad when he passed away, so my parents tried to cheer us up by essentially bribing us with gifts, I'm now realizing. But the point is that this is the set that I got for my bribery. I don't own too many Star Wars sets compared to how many there are out there, so this is special in that regard, but it mostly reminds me of my little pup and our family time we had remembering our times with Georgie. A lot less emotionally influenced is number 5, which is actually the first set on this list that I got, 9485, the Ultimate Race Set from LEGO Cars. Confession time, Cars 2 was my favorite movie until I was like 8 or 9. Even worse confession, I still don't hate it. You can dislike the video now. But, fun fact, LEGO Cars is actually what got me into LEGO. The first LEGO set I ever got was from my uncle, shout out him, and it was a simple little Lightning McQueen set. I didn't even know what LEGO was when I got it, but I instantly fell in love. Weirdly enough, I have almost no emotional connection to that set, but I always look back on this one. It might have the weirdest story for how I got it. For my beginner's LEGO stage, 30 bucks was a ton for a set, so I always looked up at this one like the holy grail that I would never achieve. Then, one day, my elementary school held a bingo event for faculty. My grandma was actually the school principal, so I was able to get in through nepotism, I guess. And you'll never guess what one of the prizes was. Actually, it probably came based on the video. But it was this set. I now had a motivation to win, or to convince my grandma to win, like never before. Through pure skill and no luck whatsoever, she did end up winning. We walked over to the prize station to see what was left, and in between like a blender or something, and some other actually useful product, sat the beautiful glossy print of Lightning McQueen, Max Chanel, and Raoul Sarul. Nowadays, I realize I was really selfish for making my grandma take this one for me, but she seemed happy. Just outside of the top 3 is 70816, Benny's Spaceship from the LEGO Movie. Obviously, as a LEGO fan, the LEGO Movie was transformative for me. My friends and I would reenact this movie every day at recess and strive to get all the best sets from the movie, but none was better than Benny's spaceship. Benny was my favorite character in the movie, mostly because I was 8 and I was like, oh my god, he has the same name as me. But also because blue is my favorite color back then, and I always tend to side with people who aren't the main character for some reason. This set also gets pointed for just looking straight up awesome, and I now know that this made a lot of A-Poles happy because we hadn't gotten anything related to classic space since it was a thing, and this was the last classic derivative spaceship until the Galaxy Explorer in 2022. This was one of the biggest sets in my collection for years, and it's another one that I didn't break down in my dark ages because I thought it was just too sweet. Scratching the top 3 is 5886, the LEGO Dino T-Rex Hunter. Like every American kid, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Every time we went to the Science Museum, I couldn't care less about anything except for the dinosaur fossils, which awed me every time, even though it was the same ones every time. LEGO Dino was perfect for me as, with Cars, it transitioned me into a LEGO fan. I think Dino was what introduced the modern dinosaur mold system, which is insane how they're still used over 12 years later. The T-Rex Trapper was the first set I got that I considered a big set, which is kind of weird considering it was less than 500 pieces, but this thing was huge for its piece count. And of course, you had the first T-Rex in this mold style. I loved swooshing the helicopter around the house, and the latching feature was the cherry on top. Unfortunately, I no longer know where this set is. Like most of my collection, I broke this set down at the end of 2019 when my dark ages began, but when I came to in 2023, I couldn't find this set. I rebuilt a lot of sets, kept the ones I didn't care about in bags, and then I sold the ones that I didn't care about, but were still in good enough condition to trade at my local Bricks and Anythings. Somehow though, this and a random Technic set were never found. I put all my broken down sets in the same spot, but this one was nowhere near there, and I still don't know where it is to this day. It's truly a tragedy, as I really would have liked to rebuild this one. My runner-up is another Chima set, 7001, Crawley's Claw Ripper. I absolutely loved Chima as a kid, and while I recognize now that the show is pretty awful, I will forever stand by the fact that most of the sets were awesome. This was the first Chima set I ever got, and I want to say it was the first LEGO set I ever bought with my own allowance money too. I played with this one non-stop and lost a few pieces near the cockpit in the process. However, unlike a lot of my other older sets, where I scramble around the various brick bins in my house to find missing pieces, I left them off of this one because I kind of like how it represents the time in my life when I would spend hours actually playing with my sets instead of displaying them on shelves like I do now. The minifigs in this set are some of the roughest ones in my collection, as the friction is pretty much gone in all of the joints. The Crocs were also my favorite tribe, both in the sets and in the show, so this one had to crack the number 2. But at number 1, I know a lot of people in the community weirdly would have the same set here. It's 70500 Kai's Fire Mech from Ninjago. Ninjago's always been my favorite theme, and it probably always will be, even though I do think it should end after Dragon's Rising. I've had phases in and out of other themes like Star Wars, Marvel, Chima, Dimensions, and more, but Ninjago's stuck with me since 2013, and I have so many memories like me and my main 3 friends in elementary school pretending to be the sons of the main 4 ninja. I was Kai's son even though I wanted Jay, and having our own elemental training sessions where we would pretend like we had the powers of our parents. Those are really some of my core memories, and as you can probably guess, Kai's Fire Mech was my first Ninjago set ever. Not only did it kickstart an incredible part of my life that still hasn't ended, even though I hide the fact that I'm into Lego still, not gonna lie, but the set itself is probably the best $10 Lego set ever. Yeah, fight me, Battle Pack fans. The design is pretty unique, the colors pop, and I loved putting together those CCBS pieces as a kid. Lastly, of course, it included one of the best Kai minifigs of all time, although it would have been way better with the armor. Overall, this set definitely belongs at number 1 because of how much it means to me, and because of how it's fun, great, and simple, just like childhood. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it a ton. If you made it this far, let me know if there are any sets on this list that you also feel nostalgic for. And definitely tell me if you have any sets that strike the nostalgia bell for you that I didn't mention. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Brickwave out.